James pulled his Integra into a parking space on Ferry Street near Stoneham. It wasn't a nice part of town. Tourists visiting Los Angeles avoided this area. The building was sagging and decrepit. Several stores were vacant, with cardboard taped over broken windows. Graffiti covered the peeling paint on the cinder block walls. Even the smog seemed to hang thicker here. The air itself seemed yellow and cloying, like a poisonous miasma. It darkened the brightest day and made everything look unreal and ominous. James walked around to the back of the building. There, among the freight entrances of the stores in front, was one door unmarked by graffiti. The sign above it had no words, just a picture of a black flower, a black iris. James knocked. The door opened 2 inches and a skinny kid in a wrinkled t-shirt peered out with beady eyes. "It's me, Ulf," James said, resisting the temptation to kick the door in. Werewolves, he thought. Why do they have to be so territorial? The door opened just enough to let James in. The skinny kid glanced suspiciously outside before shutting it again. "Go mark a fire hydrant or something," James suggested over his shoulder. The place looked like a small cafe, a darkened room with little round tables crammed in side by side, surrounded by wooden chairs. There were a few scattered people sitting down, all of them looking like teenagers. 2 guys were playing pool in the back. James went over to one of the round tables where a girl was sitting. He took off his sunglasses and sat down. "Hi, Giselle." A girl looked up. She had dark hair and blue eyes. Slanted, mysterious eyes which seemed to have been outlined in black eyeliner, ancient Egyptian style. She looked like a witch, which was no coincidence. "James, I've missed you." Her voice was soft and husky. "How's it going these days?" She cupped her hands around the unlit candle on the table and made a quick motion as if releasing a captive bird. As her hands moved away, the candle wick burst into flame. "Still as gorgeous as ever," she said, smiling at him in the dancing golden light. "That goes for you too. But the truth is, I'm here on business." She arched an eyebrow. "Aren't you always?" "This is different. I want to ask you your professional opinion or something." She spread her slender hands, silver fingernails glowing in the candle's flame. On her index finger was a ring with a black dahlia. "My powers are at your disposal. Is there someone you want cursed? Or maybe you want to attract good luck or prosperity. I know you can't need a love charm. I want a spell to cure a disease. I don't know if it needs to be specific to the disease or if something general would work. A general health spell." "James," she chuckled lazily and put a hand on his, stroking lightly. "You're really worked up, aren't you? I've never seen you like this." It was true. He was experiencing a major loss of control. He worked against it, disciplining himself into perfect stillness. "What particular disease are we talking about?" Giselle asked, when he didn't speak again. "Cancer." Giselle threw back her head and laughed. "You're telling me your kind can get cancer? I don't believe it. Eat and breathe all you want, but don't try to convince me the Lamia get human diseases." "This was the hard part," James said quietly. "The person with the disease isn't my kind. She's not your kind either. She's human." Giselle's smile disappeared. Her voice was no longer husky or lazy as she said, "An outsider? Vermin? Are you crazy, James? She doesn't know anything about me or the Nightworld. I don't want to break any laws. I just want her well." The slanted blue eyes were searching his face. "Are you sure you haven't broken the laws already?" And when James looked determined not to understand this, she added in a lowered voice, "Are you sure you're not in love with her?" James made himself meet the probing gaze directly. He spoke softly and dangerously. Don't say that unless you want to fight. Giselle looked away. She played with her ring. The candle flame dwindled and died. James, I've known you for a long time, she said without looking up. I don't want to get you in trouble. I believe you when you say you haven't broken any laws, but I think we'd both better forget this conversation. Just walk out now and I'll pretend it never happened. And the spell? There's no such thing. And if there was, I wouldn't help you. Just go. James went. There was one other possibility that he could think of. He drove to Brentwood, to an area that was as different from last as a diamond is from coal. He parked in a covered carport by a quaint adobe building with a fountain. Red and purple bougainvillea climbed up the walls to the Spanish tile on the roof. Walking through an archway into a courtyard, he came to an office with gold letters on the door. Jasper R. Rossman, Ph.D. His father was a psychologist. Before he could reach for the handle, the door opened and a woman came out. She was like most of his father's clients, 40-something, obviously rich, wearing a designer jogging suit and high-heeled sandals. She looked a little dazed and dreamy, and there were 2 small, rapidly healing puncture wounds on her neck. James went into the office. There was a waiting room, but no receptionist. Strains of Mozart came from the inner office. James knocked on the door. Dad? The door opened to reveal a handsome man with dark hair. He was wearing a perfectly tailored grey suit and a shirt with French cuffs. He had an aura of power and purpose, but not of warmth. He said, "What is it, James?" in the same voice he used for his clients. Thoughtful, deliberate, confident. "Do you have a minute?" His father glanced at his Rolex. "As a matter of fact, my next patient won't be here for half an hour. There's something I need to talk about." His father looked at him keenly, then gestured to an overstuffed chair. James eased into it, but found himself pulling forward to sit on the edge. "What's on your mind?" James searched for the right words. Everything depended on whether he could make his father understand. But what were the right words? At last he set off with bluntness. "It's Poppy. She's been sick for a while, and now they think she has cancer." Dr. Rossman looked surprised. "I'm sorry to hear that," but there was no sorrow in his voice. "And it's a bad cancer. It's incredibly painful and just about 100% incurable." "That's a pity." Again, there was nothing but mild surprise in his father's voice. And suddenly, James knew where that came from. It wasn't surprised that Poppy was sick. It was surprised that James had made a trip just to tell him this. "Dad, if she's got cancer, she's dying. Doesn't that mean anything to you?" Dr. Rossman deeped his fingers and stared into the ruddy gloss of his mahogany table. He spoke slowly and steadily. "James, we've been through this before. You know that your mother and I are worried about you getting too close to Poppy. Too attached to her." James felt a surge of cold rage. "Like I got too attached to Miss Emma?" His father didn't blink. "Something like that." James fought the pictures that wanted to form in his mind. He couldn't think about Miss Emma now. He needed to be detached. That was the only way to convince his father.